I always love the line, small firm, big story. What comes to mind when you're sitting around the dinner table, right? When you're sharing with friends, colleagues, why do you practice immigration? Tell me a story. What comes to mind?
I have one in particular where I actually lost a case. Very early on in my career, it was a kid. At that point, he was 36, but he had a pretty bad criminal record when he was growing up because he was a victim of domestic violence and he had tons of criminal issues. He was a lawful permanent resident, and eventually, when he was about 30 something, married and with kids, the criminal record started affecting him and he was caught. So I was representing him in immigration office, trying to prevent the deportation, but he had 9 convictions and at the end of the day we lost. And it really affected me because I thought that I wasn't going to practicing anymore because I couldn't sleep, I couldn't think about anything else. And I received a phone call from him, I think about 6-7 months after, calling me and thanking me for the representation. He felt that I did a good job, that I tried my best, and also to let me know that he was okay. And he said, I know you took it hard, but I want you to know that I am in Cancun. I started a new business, and since we're primarily English speakers, it works out great with the tourists, and we're doing phenomenal. So I just want you to know that because you're not going to win every case, but we're still very grateful for the work that you did.
That is amazing.
So that stays with me. I'm like, that's why I'm going to stay being a lawyer. Sometimes it'll make a difference.
Right.
Sometimes it won't, but we can't give up.
What kind of cases do you like to do the most?
I like to do detained cases. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have that much time anymore, but those I would say are my favorite because you get a solution right then and there. You also get a loss right then and there, which is difficult. But those I would say were my favorite because I was able to use my criminal background with immigration law, and we had great results.
Why do you need a criminal experience and you need immigration experience to do detain work?
A lot of the detained clients that we would take had a criminal record.
Okay.
So I feel that having that knowledge is very useful.
And how did you gain that knowledge?
I thought I was going to be a criminal lawyer, so
Okay.
I studied a lot of criminal law when I was in law school. After that, I was at the public defender's office in San Diego for a while, but I hated it. They placed me in the sex offender department, and I just didn't like it. So I moved from San Diego to Los Angeles, and this is where they offered me my first job as an immigration lawyer, and I fell in love with it. I was representing people that looked like my family, and I just really wanted to help them out.
So having that criminal law background, you're able to make the arguments in immigration court.
Absolutely.
And what are some of the main arguments that you make all the time?
Well, back in the day, I think it was the FFOA. That was a big important one, Federal First Offenders Act. And then just that they have not been convicted sometimes. You have to start at the very beginning. A lot of lawyers forget that you have to start fighting from the very beginning. It might not be defined as a conviction.
So for the ALA community, a lot of people are just purely doing family immigration. A lot of people just purely do consulate work or purely do USCIS business type work. What is it like dealing with immigration court or dealing with detained cases? So now dealing with ICE specifically.
It's very stressful. Immigration law in general is unpredictable. We're adding this other facet, which is the Trump administration and this hostility against our community, and having to control client expectations because a lot of times they are very emotional. They're having a very difficult time. They're trying to find blame somewhere. They don't know the entire story. So controlling all those different aspects is very important.
What is it like when somebody gets detained? What's the first thing that happens, and what is the first thing that you have to do?
The first thing that we do is reception knows that it's a priority case. We, at the moment, we're only taking detained cases of our current clients.
Right.
But if that would happen, then our reception department, we call it our welcoming department, know that a detained case takes priority. So right away, one of our attorneys would take the call and try to figure out where they're at. As soon as we figure that out, then we would go physically to their location, probably end up in 300 North Los Angeles, B18, the basement. And that is where you try to negotiate with ICE to see where they're at. Because they are already our clients, we probably already have all of their information. We have proof of their convictions, if any. We have proof that things have been either vacated or expunged, you never know. So that's very helpful for us. We're prepared, and the staff knows that we need to prepare G28s, we need to prepare a copy of the file, et cetera.
So you would recommend anybody who has the potential to be detained to prepare that file first.
Absolutely.
And that way, if they are detained, they can immediately give it to ICE. Now, what is the typical ICE response when they see you with the file? Or do they like you? Do they not like you?
You know, that's part of the unpredictability. Sometimes they're going to hate you, and sometimes they're so helpful, which is very rare, very weird.
Now, why would they like you? So maybe the public will think, oh, ICE, CBP, they will not want to talk to you at all. But in your experience, some of them actually really appreciate you guys showing up.
Yes, I think they do when you're prepared. I think it makes things easier for them. It makes things easier for us. And instead of simply verbally saying that they shouldn't detain them, we have actual evidence. In other words, if they don't have an arrest record, if they don't have a conviction, or if they have an arrest but it didn't turn into a conviction, you're there with the proof.
Right.
So I think they appreciate that we're prepared.
What happens after you show them that information? Does ICE release them on the spot within a few days? Fast track the bond hearing? What happens?
It depends. So it could be maybe that we negotiate with ICE, or ICE automatically provides the bond, or if they deny it, then we have to calendar a bond redetermination hearing, and then we have to go before the judge to request a bond. And it's going to depend on their record, essentially, our success rate. Yeah.
But sometimes ICE would be able to just release them based on the risk assessment, based on what you present.
Yes.
And that's the goal, right?
Yes, exactly. Because once you're with the judge, the likelihood of having a high bond is pretty high. So usually it's about $5,000 or more that the client has to pay.
At the immigration court.
Exactly.
Right.
And bond with ICE, it could be less than that. It could be zero.
And also, not to mention, if they had to go before an immigration judge, they have to wait maybe another 10, 15 days.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Whereas they're now able to immediately go home.
Yes. We definitely want to play nice with ICE,
right.
So that we don't have to go through those hurdles.
Other than detained type cases, what else do you guys do a lot at the firm?
I would say U visas, adjustment of status, naturalizations are probably our bulk. Again, we have complex issues. So there's always either some detention or a criminal record, or we do a lot of appeals as well. We do a lot of motions to reopen.
Motions to reopen with USCIS or motions to reopen with immigration court?
With both.
With both?
Yes,
okay.
With both. And we even reopen cases from the 80s from amnesty and things of that sort. So we're actually been pretty effective with those. I don't think a lot of lawyers take those types of cases. They feel like it's a lost cause because it's a relief for so many years ago. But it works out if you find the information that you need.
Dude, high five.
Thank you.
Five. We do a lot of motion to reopens too. And in my experience also, a lot of other firms don't do motion to reopens. They just directly go through immigration court or federal court. I'm like, no, trust in the system. People are like, no, you're a joke. You know, no, don't do it. But I'm glad you share that sentiment.
Yeah.
Yes, motions to reopen could work, right?
Yeah.
So as a immigration law specialist, can you walk us through a little bit about the state of the play with U visas right now?
It's my favorite type of relief, the U visas, because we have the strongest waiver, because they would receive their employment authorization for 4 years. I hate that it takes such a long time. The problem now with this administration, one is that it doesn't protect you like it did. And having those conversations with your clients now is very difficult. I think that's the main one. There's one that I'm forgetting at the moment. Oh yes, so now if they lose their U visa, they get placed on proceedings. However, it takes such a long time for them to receive a decision that more than likely we're not going to be in the Trump administration. But what if we get a worse one later? So that's, you never know.
Right.
So having those conversations with the clients, yes, I want you to apply for U visa because it's a very strong type of relief, but there is this unpredictability at the end of the day. If you get denied, we don't know what's going to happen. Either they place you in proceedings or they might just simply close the case.
Quick estimate on the spot. How many U visas do you think in the course of your career that you have filed?
Well over 1,000.
Wow. What are some unique circumstances that qualify for U visa that most people just don't know?
Robbery or theft with a weapon. A lot of lawyers just give up and say, well, this is not going to count as a felonious assault because nothing really happened to them, and it's defined differently. I think if you try to go back with the police department and try to add another crime, that might work. It's been successful for us sometimes. So that's one. Two, employment issues. So employment crimes. Sometimes they have been raped at work. Sometimes they have been falsely imprisoned. So exploring the labor part of victimization, I think is something that some of the lawyers forget.
What about domestic violence? So maybe domestic violence doesn't qualify for VAWA for whatever reason, but do you think that could have been done for a U visa?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We always prefer, obviously, VAWA because it's faster. It's automatically a green card. But yes, domestic violence is definitely something that we can explore with the U visas. I consider those a lot easier just because domestic violence, even if it's a slap or something that wouldn't be considered a felonious assault, if there was no relationship with the person, would be considered of qualifying crime for U visa. But yes, absolutely. If they don't qualify for VAWA, we think about U visa right away.
Right, because see, most people think of U visa in terms of, okay, there's a gang, there's a mafia, there's a crime organization, there's a syndicate, I'm trying to bust them, I'm helping, and I suffered this great assault, and now I'm helping the cops, helping FBI, helping Interpol, right? But employment side, being a victim of employer abuse, being a victim of not just necessarily U.S. citizen, but LPR, other relatives, uncles, right? If you're a victim of other people domestically, that could potentially qualify.
Exactly, and they don't have to be married.
Being a victim of a nonprofit organization, say a particular religious organization where you were abused as an altar boy, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so there's so
absolutely.
many avenues for a U visa that not necessarily is just the mafia.
Yes.
U visa is amazing.
I love it. I think we've really turned some people's lives around when they didn't believe that they were able to get it. I sometimes didn't believe it either, and then it turns out, and now they're citizens after a few years. Yeah, many years.
Wow. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you
Really
so much.
appreciate
It was great
It's been
having
so
you.
fun.
Thank all of the AILA board for all of the help. We use AILA, I would say, on a daily basis, and I'm very grateful for them, especially during these times. I mean, I am reading the news every night and making sure, and having an outlet that is reliable is so important nowadays. So thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Joseph. I'm your media liaison boy. This is Delia, this is Franco Law Group, and we're gonna take an inside look at her firm.
Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the Franco Law Group. I am very excited to show you our team and our offices and where we do what we do.
There's so many interesting things. I can't wait to show you. Let's go.
Here we have the conference room. This is the investigation room. This is where we request all the FOIAs. This is where we get people fingerprinted. We want to make sure that we have a strong foundation for every case.
We do an investigation into our client's past. Anything that would potentially impact their case, I'm in charge of discovering that.
You have a really awesome art piece right there.
This is an original. I really love it. Don Quixote de la Mancha. And here we call it the paralegal office, where the day-to-day gets done.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. What do you like the most about this firm?
How much they care about their clients. Never accept defeat is something that I've learned from Attorney Franco, and then also we work as a team to find a solution for that.
Hi, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Oh, I see an approval notice. Congratulations. What's that case about?
A spouse petition.
So it's a green card.
It's a green card, yes.
How did you learn how to process everything?
It was all the guidance of our attorneys, and then also sometimes like we use AILA as well.
Oh, use AILA. Okay, tell me more about that.
It's very informative. Love using it. It's helping how to deal with clients, how to manage with their emotions, and also, you know, how to like file documents.
We also have trainings once a month, and we use AILA resources. We use the paralegal book and then also the pointers book. That's thanks to AILA. This is a Maxwell painting, one of my favorites, and it's because of all these people coming together, so peaceful, observing something. And here we have the backbone of the office. This is our manager.
Hi. What do you like about the field of immigration?
Having to be able to give them a status at the end of the day, making sure that they don't feel so fearful, give them some type of hope.
This is where I see the majority of my clients. Someone I hang out with. Her and I hang out when we get really stressed out, and we talk about how things are gonna get better, and we just need to keep hopeful. This painting over there was gifted to me by a lady. She was about 90 something years old and she was applying for naturalization. She told me when we won that she felt that it was her doctorate. So she gifted this to our office. And here we have our Spotlight Studio. And this is where we do a lot of our marketing. We try to do a live every Thursday, and that's where we try to inform the community about the news. We do a lot of USCIS, so adjustment of status, U visas, naturalization applications. 80% of our cases are complex, so I would consider that our expertise. But we take all kinds of cases, even the simple ones.
And that's it. Wasn't that fun? If you are an immigration lawyer here in SoCal and you're a member and you would like me to go visit your firm to share something encouraging for the AILA community, please contact us, let us know. Would love to go. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Do you know how I know this is an immigration firm?
How?
That. I don't think any other law firm would have children things. And what does your logo mean?
It doesn't necessarily have a meaning, but that's part of the reason why I really like it. People consider it kind of like a dove. Other people think that it's maybe like weaving. But I like the last interpretation because it's essentially what we're doing. We're trying to have different cultures, different people in the United States weave into this beautiful culture here as well. Someone I hang out with.
How are you doing? How are you doing? Hang in there? Hang in there? Hang in there, okay?
Please hang in there.
Hey, please hang in there.
This is something that my father had in his desk. This is his clock, and this is actually what he would do all the time. So it's really representative of him.